Hey, what's up guys? You all must have heard of the term VPN or the virtual private network. Well, all we know about this is that we use a VPN to hide our identity, it hides our IP address, and with the use of a VPN we can bypass all the blocked websites. Maybe it is blocked in our college or maybe by our government in India. But actually, VPN does nothing to make you anonymous or to hide your identity. In this video, we shall find out how this VPN actually works, what is the origin of this VPN, and what was the purpose of invention of VPN. Stay with me till the end of this video and all your doubts regarding VPN will be cleared out. Now before we get into it, if you have landed new to this channel, make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below because regularly I keep on bringing such interesting tech videos for you. Now without wasting any more time, let's jump into the video. So VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. Let us quickly first understand the difference between a private network and a public network. Well, public network is that through which data from all the users flow. It is a common channel through which data is communicated between the end users. The internet connection that is coming to your home from your ISP is a public network. If you go ahead and type what is my IP in Google, you will see that your public IP is being shown. So a public network basically helps you to communicate between different networks to send data from one network to another network. On the other hand, private network is the network which is formed within an organization or within your home. In a private network, data remains within that particular network and cannot flow out of the network without the help of a public network. Yes, all the devices connected to your house router is within a private network. And when you connect your router to the public internet connection through the internet cable, then it is accessing the public network. So after you connect your private network to the public network, only then you can send data from your private network to some another network at a different location. So this virtual private network is basically intended to prepare a private network, but that too virtually. In most of the research and development organizations and also in the government organizations, data has to be kept secured and it has to be seen that the data does not leak out of the organization. In those organizations, private network is used to communicate within the employees or within different departments in that organization. And at all, if they need to send any data over the public network, then that is done with extra care so that no data is leaked or no one can breach that data from the middle of the communication path. So now the problem was that even when the employees were out of the organization or were at some different location, still then it was needed to communicate some information or some data to the organization. But at that moment, only option they had was to access a public network and then send that data to the organization. And if any response has to be sent from the organization to that particular employee, they also have to use the public network. So here the problem of security arose. When they were using the public network, it was very easy to intercept any data that is flowing through the network. What VPN does is it establishes a private connection between the organization and that employee. It establishes a tunnel through which all the information or the data that has to be communicated between these 2 points is transmitted through. This tunnel is establishing a private connection but on a public network, and that is why it is known as a virtual private network. This tunnel is highly sensitive and it is very difficult to breach any information which is flowing through this. When a VPN connection is established, all the data that is flowing between the two endpoints is encrypted and it is quite hard to decrypt this data and to extract it. And whenever any attempt is made of breaching the data which is flowing through this VPN tunnel, the tunnel instantly shuts down and it will create a new connection that is having a different address. So that is why VPN is said to be the most secure mode of connection for transmitting sensitive data. So now let us understand how the VPN that we install in our mobile devices or in our laptops actually operate. Well, there are various VPN service providers and all these service providers have various servers set up in different countries. And whenever we request a VPN connection through these VPN service providers, we select the server which we want and the VPN service provider connects us to that server in that particular country. And whenever a connection to that server is established, that server forms a tunnel with us at one end of the tunnel and the other end of the tunnel is directed to the website or the server to which we want to connect to and we want to communicate our data. So how does this VPN help us to bypass any blocked website? Now, as I told, there are various servers set up in different countries. So whenever a website is blocked, the government has instructed all the ISP providers that any request made to that particular IP address of the server has to be blocked. And so the DNS servers of the ISPs are set up in such a manner that whenever we send a request to connect to that particular server, they block it and they show an error message. But whenever we use a VPN service to connect to that particular website, a separate private tunnel is formed between us and that website's server. So now whatever request we are sending to connect to a particular website, those are all encrypted and no one in between, not even the ISP servers or no other DNS server, can intercept that request or decrypt it and find out that we are trying to access a blocked server in our country. So whenever we are sending a request packet, it is first going to the VPN server and then it is redirected to the destination server, and all of this is happening through a tunnel and everything is encrypted, so no one can intercept the data that is flowing between. So now the question arises, why does using a VPN server slows down your internet connection? So now there are various VPN servers set up in different countries or different parts of the world, and as I told you that VPN is the most secure and the safest way of communication, it has to ensure that any data that is flowing through this VPN tunnel has to reach its destination without any data loss. So whenever a tunnel is established between 2 points, a certain amount of bandwidth is reserved for that particular tunnel so that the data flows without any interruption and it is ensured that the data 100% reaches its destination. So whenever we are trying to access any server which is in our country itself using a VPN service, our request is first going to the VPN server, which may be set up in a different location in a different country, and then it will be redirected back to that destination server. So this all process of routing takes a lot of time. Now also, as I told you that while using a VPN service, a separate tunnel is formed to ensure secure connection, and as we are establishing a connection with a particular website server, a tunnel is established which is dedicated for the communication between us and that particular service or the website. Now if you want to connect to another server or a different website, then again a new tunnel has to be formed which is exclusive for communication between us and that particular website. And as I told you that each tunnel has a reserved amount of bandwidth, so the bandwidth is lost, and whether we are using that connection or not, if the tunnel is existing, then that amount of bandwidth is reserved for that tunnel. But while we are not using a VPN service, then all the bandwidth is shared for communication between all the servers which we are communicating. So if we are not communicating to a particular website at this moment, then that bandwidth will be used for communication with a different server or a different service. So now the discussion comes to that whether the VPN service hides our identity or not. Well, if you use a VPN service or you connect through a VPN server, then if you try to find out your own IP address, you may find it that it is a different IP address. But have you ever thought how this IP address is mapped to our local IP address? Like the VPN server is actually providing you a new IP address which is having a location set to some different country, and whatever data is coming from that particular website is reaching to your device, but the IP address is of some another device. Whenever you establish a connection to a VPN server, the VPN server updates its log with your original IP address and the IP address which it has provided to you, and also all the requests to the websites or the websites which you want to access. It also adds all of them, all the information inside its log. So the VPN service or the VPN servers has all the information about your original IP address and about all the websites which you are visiting. Now many may argue that using a premium VPN service hides this one also. Well, that is not exactly true. If you go ahead and read the terms and conditions of those premium VPN services also, they have clearly mentioned that in case the government asks for the user data information, then they will be providing all the information data that has been stored in the database. So finally, VPN does not hide your IP or makes you anonymous. All your data is stored at the VPN servers. It only masks your IP address with a different one. But yes, VPN is very useful to protect your private data inside your device when you are using any public Wi-Fi network or any open network. So this wraps up the discussion about VPNs or the virtual private network and how these virtual private networks actually work. If this video helped you in gaining a good understanding about the VPN services, then leave behind a big like for this video and also share this video with all your friends and family. And before leaving, make sure to subscribe to the channel along with pressing the bell icon beside it so that you never miss an awesome tech update from my side. See you in my next video. Till then, goodbye.